Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 13th Feb today, and in this video we are going to solve some important questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. Before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give you the brief introduction about our initiative so that if you are new to our channel you will get more connected with us. Basically in this video we are going to discuss various types of questions, and these questions would be taken from different sources. So depending upon the sources, if we will divide our discussion, it would come under three different parts. So in the first part of our discussion, what we are going to do here, in the first part of our discussion, we are going to take up the questions from the current affairs. Here what we will do, we'll try to take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We'll try to break them down into the simplest language possible, and we'll try to derive the possible prelims questions from those particular articles so that it will give you the idea which part of the newspaper is important for you, what should be your approach when you are reading these news articles, and how you can expect a prelims based question from these particular articles. So this is what we are going to do in the first part of our discussion. After solving questions with respect to current affairs, we will shift our approach to the another part of our discussion where we will solve a question with respect to static topic. Here, what we are doing right now we are discussing Indian polity, and in Indian polity we had reached until up till the office of the president. So right now we are discussing the office of the president, and in office of the president we are discussing the financial powers of the president. So today we are going to discuss the financial powers of the president and derive the possible prelims question on that, and it will give you the idea how question can be asked in the exam with respect to these topics. After solving questions with respect to current affairs and the static part, we will shift our approach to the last part of our discussion where we will solve some previous year questions. To me this is the most important part, because in here we discuss what are the questions which were asked in the exam, what are the trends followed by UPSC examiner, what is the vocabulary which they use for framing your papers, and what can be the different methods by which you can solve the questions if you don't have the proper knowledge. I'm talking about the elimination methods here, and how we can implement this knowledge in the upcoming exam. So this is in nutshell what we are going to do in this video. Now before we will start our discussion, I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel. When you subscribe, it helps the channel grow and it motivates us to work more hard on such topics, and to provide you with the best information possible. So please do subscribe us, do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative, and please do write in the comments what do you feel about this initiative. Do appreciate us. With this, let us start with the first question. As we can see here on the screen, the question is basically about the section 8 of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951. So you can ask me a question here, sir, why we had brought this question, what is the reason for that. Actually, there was an article in the newspaper which talked about should convicted persons contest elections. What was the topic of the discussion in the newspaper? Topic of the discussion was should convicted persons be allowed to contest elections. So this was the topic of the which was the topic of the article which was in the newspaper. Here in this article, the author had expressed different things which are very much important for us. First, what he tried to express, that he gave us the report, where he gave us the report which was laid by the association for Democratic Reforms, ADR. They had laid a report, and according to this report they had said that approximately 46% of the MPs who were elected in the 2024 parliamentary elections, approximately 46% of the MPs are those who had some criminal charges against them. 46% of the MPs are those who had some criminal charges against them. So this is really an issue. And why he is discussing this, why there is whole discussion in the newspaper, the reason for that is the Supreme Court is about to hear the petitions regarding there should be the lifetime ban on the people who are there should be the lifetime ban on the contesting of the elections for those people who are convicted of criminal charges. So this is the question with the Supreme Court on which they are going to discuss, and that's why we are discussing this whole article here. Now in the article, what does author express? He says that when, if we can see the data given by the ADR, as it shows that 46% of the MPs who are in the parliament right now, about these MPs, there are some criminal charges against them. So what does it lead to? According to him, it leads to the criminalization of the criminalization of politics, and it has huge impact on the democracy which we believe in. So what are those impacts of this criminalization of politics? What can it lead to? You know, when there is this much, when everybody knows that there is a person, there is an MP who is contesting the election and he has some criminal records behind it, so what does it lead to? How does it impact the democracy? That is what the author here had discussed. First thing what he expressed, that because of this criminalization of democracy, what happens, it has a very negative impact on, it has a very negative influence on the voter. What does it have? It has very negative influence on the voter. There is a stereotype, we can say, an idea develops in the voter that this person who is contesting the election, he would be very much powerful. Even if he has charges against him, he is still contesting the election. So there would be influence on that voter, that if I will go against him, he may do any harm to him. So definitely negative influence on the voter. The voters would not try to go against them. Second thing, what he says, what he points out at, that this criminalization of politics will lead to nexus of money and muscle power. Nexus of money and muscle power. This will lead to nexus of money and muscle power. So what will it lead to? It will lead to the black money in the market. Money would be used, the people would be forced to vote in somebody's favor. So definitely it would have negative impact. Third thing which the author here expressed, that it will have very bad impact on the youth, youth of the country, because they would not dare to contest elections, because they will have this stereotype that we have no chance to win against these people because they have money, they have muscle power, they will misuse it in their way, and we don't have a chance to win. So it will definitely have the negative impact on the youth of the country. So these are few things which were highlighted by the author here. These are few things which are highlighted by the author, that because of this criminalization of the, because of this criminalization of the politics, these things can be, these could be the impacts, that it will have very negative impact on the voter. They will not feel free to vote in any way. It will have very bad impact on the youth, as they would not dare to go against these people, these MPs who had some criminal charges against them. And also it will have negative impact on whom? On the, on the democracy of the country. So with this, here the author also highlights that, what are here author also highlights that what are the, you know what are the different provisions in our constitution, or different laws which are associated with the, criminalization of politics. What are the different laws? So with respect to that, we have section 83 of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951. So under this section 83, Representation of Peoples Act 1951, what does it say? That if a person is convicted of a criminal charges, if a person is convicted, he will not be, if a person is convicted and his punishment given to him is 2 years, then what will happen to him? That for these 2 years he will not be allowed to contest an election. He will not be allowed. And after the punishment is over, after the punishment for 6 more years, he will not be allowed. So this is the criteria under section 83 of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951, that the person who is convicted of the criminal charges will not be allowed to contest an election. So with respect to this, there had been different discussions in the Supreme Court. Earlier, with respect to this, we had another section also. Section 4 of the, section 8.4 of the, we have section 8.4 of the Representation of People Act, what does it say? Section 84 of the Representations of Peoples Act says that, for example, if the lower court had charged a person of the criminal, has convicted a person of the criminal charges, then what will happen? That person will still be allowed to contest the elections until he uses all the available options which are for him. For example, if the lower courts, if the district courts will convict him of any criminal charge, then what will happen? He has the options to go to the high court, he has the options to go to the Supreme Court, then he has the options of the review petitions and all that. So according to this section 8(4) of the Representation of the Peoples Act of 1951, until he uses all the available options which are available to him, till then he is not disqualified, he can contest the election. But this question was raised, this question was asked to the Supreme Court in the Lily Thomas case 2013, and this part was made unconstitutional, and this part was made very much unconstitutional, and it was removed. And in the Lily Thomas case, the Supreme Court said that even though the lower courts they convict you of any criminal charges, then you are liable of disqualification until it is not reversed by any other court. So this is the whole story. This is what right now we stand at the section 8(3) of the Representation of Peoples Act, that if anybody is of a criminal, if anybody is contesting the election and he has been charged of any criminal, he has been convicted of the criminal charges, then what will happen? He will be disqualified. First, if the punishment for him is 2 years, if the sentence is for the 2 years, a sentence of imprisonment is for 2 years, and after that for 6 years he will not be allowed to contest the election. So this is the whole story. Why we discussed it? Because there was a question, there are questions, please, or petitions before the Supreme Court which talk about should there be the lifetime ban on the people who are convicted of the criminal charges. So with this, I hope you had got the basic understanding of this question. What is the context of this question, what was in the newspaper today, and now we can solve the question very easily. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding section 8(3) of the Representation of Peoples Act of 1951. First statement: section 8(3) disqualifies a person convicted of any offense and sentenced to imprisonment for not less than 2 years, 100% correct, from the date of conviction, and continues for further period of 6 years since their release. It is 6 years. So first statement is 100% correct. Second statement: the disqualification under the section applies only if the offense is related to corruption of moral uh, you know turpitude. Totally incorrect. It is against any charge. If he is convicted of any criminal charge, then he is liable of disqualification. Third statement: the disqualification under section 8(3) can be reversed if the conviction is stayed by a competent court. 100% correct. That's what we discussed in the Lily Thomas case. We discussed that how earlier the legislator, or we can say the person, had options that until he uses every option, he was not disqualified. But this was overturned by the Lily Thomas case, and they said that if any court, maybe lower courts, will convict you of any criminal charge, then you are disqualified. So this statement, option 3, is correct. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Correct statements are option A and 1 and option 3 only, and the correct option would be option B. With this, I hope you had understood the question as well as the context behind this question. Now with this, let's move to the another question, another slide. Let's see what question we had brought there. Now here we can see on the screen, as question is about the pink collar jobs. So you may ask me a question here, sir, there was no direct mention of pink collar jobs, why we are discussing this? Basically, there was a discussion in the newspaper about the budgeting for a gender inclusion. There was a discussion about the gender budgeting. What is that? Gender budgeting. So what is this? Basically, this gender budgeting, it is a statement which was first introduced in 2005-2006. Gender budget statement. Gender budget statement. It was first introduced in 2005 and 2006. 2005-6 it was first introduced in. Under this, what does the government do? The government analyzes the budget, that what part of the budget will be towards the, what part of the budget is focused towards the woman only. So this is the whole idea about the gender budgeting. Under this gender budgeting, it has two parts. We should know that. Part A, in it there are those schemes or that part of the money which is totally provided for the woman, which is to 100% for the woman, which is those schemes which are 100% focused on the woman. So this comes under part A. Then we have part B, at least 30% is for woman. So these are the schemes under gender budget. It is divided into two parts. So with respect to this gender budget, why we are discussing it, India has a very ambitious goal that by 2047, we want to be the Viksit Bharat, that is, we want to be the developed country. So to achieve this Viksit Bharat goal, recently we saw that when the budget was tabled in the parliament, the government has highlighted few things to achieve it. And one of the important thing which was highlighted there, that the woman workforce in our country should the women workforce should be approximately 70%. That 70% of the women in our country should be working. So if to achieve this Viksit Bharat goal, our 70% of women should be working. So with respect to this, it is very much important for us to understand the role of the woman in the society. You know, usually the patriarchal society which we had followed since centuries, it had confined the roles of the woman to some sectors only, like sectors like teaching, sectors like farming, for the agricultural purpose. The women are very much very much confined to the agriculture sector, to the informal sector. And if the formal jobs are given to them, they are very much confined to teaching and nursing and such roles only. So to achieve this Viksit Bharat goal, to achieve this goal, we have to modify our thinking, we have to modify our approach, and all the sectors should be made available to the woman. So then only we can achieve this. This is the whole idea behind this question, why we had discussed it there. This is the whole nutshell of the whole, this is the sum and substance of the article which was in the newspaper, that to achieve the goal of Viksit Bharat, we have to provide jobs for the women. As under, to achieve this goal, 70% of our women should be working in some sector. And usually what we are right now following, we had our society has given certain roles to the woman, like working as teachers, or nurse, working in medical, medical, working in hospitals as nurse and all that stuff, paramedical stuff. So to achieve this goal, we have to modify this. We have to diverse the jobs for the woman. We have to let women work in every space possible. And also we have to focus on their education, their health, and we have to provide the equity which they had craved for the centuries. So this is the whole nutshell of the article. Now with this, let's try to solve the question and get more idea about what these pink collar jobs are. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding pink collar jobs. First statement: pink collar jobs are traditionally associated with the roles in sectors such as nursing and teaching, which are predominantly occupied by women. 100% correct. It is very much patriarchal nature of the societies which had done this to the woman. Second statement: the term pink collar job was coined during Second World War to describe jobs that are suitable for women. 100% correct. Third statement: pink collar jobs are typically characterized by lower wages and limited opportunities for career advancement compared to white collar and blue collar jobs. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, all the three statements are correct, and correct option would be 1, 2, and 3. So with this, I hope you had understood the article and also the question. With this, let's move to the another question and see what we had brought on the next screen. Here the question is with respect to Article 200 of Indian Constitution. Why we are discussing this article here? Because there is a discussion in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has asked the governor of Tamil Nadu why he has rejected 10 bills, or we can say why what he is doing in the Tamil Nadu legislative assembly, is it with respect to the constitution? What is the situation here, that more than 10 bills were held by the governor, and once he held it, he sent those bills back. Once the bills were sent back to the governor, what he did, irrespective of giving assent to the bill, he sent them to the president. So here we have to understand the power of the governor under article 200. Under article 200, governor has three options. What are these three options? First, he can give the assent, say yes. Second, he can withhold the assent, withhold the assent, withhold the assent. Send the bill back to the parliament. We can say legislative assembly. Tell them what to modify. If they will accept it, fine. If they will not accept it, then you have to accept the bill. Third, what he can do, he can reserve the bills for the president. So what is the allegation against the Tamil Nadu governor here? When bills were sent to him, he would not give assent, which was the easiest way. What he will do, he will hold the bills. He will consume the time. Then he will send these bills back to the parliament, back to the legislative assembly. What legislative assembly will do, they will again send it without amending any part of it, or maybe amending. It is up to them. It is not highlighted. They will send it back to the governor. Once the governor receives it, what should be his answer now? His answer should be yes. Now he has to agree to the bill. But no, he's not saying yes to he's not giving his assent. But what he is doing, he is sending these bills for the presidential assent. He is sending these bills he is referring these bills to the president. So this is the question asked to the Supreme Court, whether it is very much constitutional or not. Earlier, what he should have done, he should have given the assent, or if he was not very much confident about the bills passed by the legislative assembly, or if he would have thought that these bills can are against the central laws, or these bills are against the they are going to degrade the power of the high court, then he would have directly sent it to the president. He did not do so. Earlier he did not do so. He withheld the bills, he sent them back. But after some time, what he did, when the bills were sent back to him, he took the another turn and sent it to the president. So this is the issue, whether it is constitutional or not. This is the question which is asked to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will answer it. What does the constitution say? This is not the procedure which he should follow. So this is the whole idea behind why we are discussing the question. Now with this much information, I hope you are ready to answer the question here. Now let's see what does the question say. Question says, consider the following statements regarding Article 200 of the Indian Constitution. First statement, it says Article 200 deals with the powers of the governor with respect to the assenting to bills passed by the state legislature. 100% correct. What are his powers? He can say yes, he can withhold, he can you refer it to the president. Second, under Article 200, the governor can reserve a bill for the consideration of the president if the bill endangers the position of the state high court. 100% correct. He will reserve it for the consideration of the president if it endangers the position of the state high court. Third statement, the governor has the absolute discretion to withhold assent to any bill passed by the state legislature without providing any reason. Totally incorrect. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. With this, I hope you had understood the question and also why we had discussed this question here. Now with this, let's move to the another question. Let's see what we had brought on the screen. Here, as you can see, the question is about the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act 2010. So why we had discussed this question, because recently the Union Finance Minister, what did they, recently the Union Finance Minister, when they laid the budget, when the budget was tabled in the Parliament, the Finance Minister said that the government is trying, is intending to amend the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act 2010. We had signed a nuclear deal 123 with the USA, and under that deal, the USA would provide us the technology, will help us in developing the civil nuclear program. But unfortunately, we are not able, even though we have the deal, but we are not able to attract the companies, companies from the US or any other countries. And what was the reason for that? The reason was this particular act, the provisions in this act. Usually, I will give you the nutshell of the act. What happens in this act? That, for example, if we buy any technology from the any nuclear technology from any company, then the operator of the technology is liable for any accident. For example, if we are operating that here, some company would operate it, then what will happen? The operator will take the responsibility if any damage happens with respect to that. But under this civil liability for nuclear damage act, there is a one provision that the liability operator can claim the liability from the supplier too, because it is also the responsibility of the supplier. So this liability on supplier was the issue, and because of this liability of the supplier, there were the companies, they were very much hesitant to invest in our country. So this is the major reason why the companies in US were not that much interested in investing in India. So now, as world is moving, the world standards are very much different with respect to nuclear damage act, and India is very much in line with those global standards, and that's why India is about, our government is about to amend this provision of this act. So with this, I hope you had got the basic understanding. Now let's try to solve the question and get more idea about the civil liability for nuclear damage act 2010. Here the question says, with reference to the civil liability for nuclear damage act 2010, which of the following statements are correct? First statement: the act establishes a strict liability regime for the nuclear operators, meaning they are liable for nuclear damage regardless of fault. 100% correct. Second statement: the act channels all liability to the operator of the nuclear installation, precluding any direct claims against suppliers or manufacturers. The act here, the question says, the act channels all liability to the operators of the nuclear installation, uh, precluding any direct claims against suppliers or manufacturers. 100% correct. There is no direct claim, but there are few provisions which talk they can ask them, in a way. Third statement: the act provides for a limited liability for the operator beyond which the government assumes responsibility. Totally incorrect. There is major liability is on the operator only. Fourth statement: the act allows the operator of a nuclear installation to seek recourse against suppliers of the equipment or materials in case of nuclear incident caused by their negligence. 100% correct. The fourth statement is correct. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Correct statements are statement 1, statement 2, and statement 4. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. With this, I hope you had understood this act and this question also. Now let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here, as you can see, the question is basically talking about match the lists given in list 1 and list 2. Why we had brought this question? Because as we know that PM Modi, he has met the president of France, and as right now the condition in Middle East is slightly improving, and so there was discussion about the IMEC corridor. So with respect to this, these ports are very much important for us. We need to know with respect to our prelims exam. So let's solve it. Question says, match list 1 with list 2 and select the correct answers given the code given below. I had not brought the code, but let's solve the question. First, Mundra port, it is 100% in India, so first statement is correct. Jabal Ali port in UAE, 100% correct. Third, Haifa port in Israel, correct. Fourth, Piraeus port in Greece, 100% correct. So in this question, all the ports are connected with their country. So with this, I hope you had understood the question. Also, why we discussed the question. And here it is match the following basic question. Every port is matched correctly with their particular country. So with this, let's move to the another question and see what we had brought. Here the question is with respect to Konyak tribe of northeast India. So let's see what does the question say. Why we had brought this question? Because there was a picture of them on the newspaper, so it becomes important for us. So let's see the question. What does the question say? Question says, regarding the Konyak tribe of northeast India, which of the following statements are correct? First statement: they are one of the largest Naga tribes, primarily residing in the Mon district of Nagaland. 100% correct. They are Naga tribes. Second, While head hunting is no longer practiced, its past significance continues to influence some aspects of their culture. 100% correct. Third, they are also called head hunters. They are fighters, and they used to cut the heads and store them in their places. So that's why they are called head hunters. Third statement: the Eoling Monu festival associated with the end of the harvest season is a prominent cultural event for the Konyaks. 100% correct. Fourth statement: their traditional attire and intricate tattoos on their face, often reflecting past warrior traditions or significant markers of their identity. So this is also correct. So with respect to the Konyan tribe, all the four statements are correct. They are the Naga tribe. So with this, let's move to the another part of our discussion, where we will solve a static topic. Sorry, we had not brought static topic today, but it is the previous year question. We had, I guess, my team has forgot to mention the static topic here. So let's solve this previous year question. So here the question says variation in the length of day and night time from season to season or due to what is the reason that there is variation in the length of daytime and night time from season to season. This question it was asked in 2012. This question is from the physical geography. So what is the answer to this question? It is the revolution of earth on a tilted axis. The revolution of the earth on the tilted axis is a reason for the length of the variation in the length of the daytime and the nighttime from season to season. So with this, we complete today's discussion. I hope you would have understood every topic which we try to discuss here. If there is any confusion, please do write in the comments. We'll try our best to clear that. With this, I would like to thank you guys for staying with me, for listening me, and thank you very much. May I hope best wishes for you.